Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Wetherell. I'm the Lincoln Woodstock School District Moderator. I'd like to reconvene our annual meeting. If you've not had the opportunity to see our COVID-19 compliant procedures, they are available on the school website, lin-wood.org. Click on the district section and all of the information is there. Before we start part 2 of our meeting, I'd like to introduce those present at this meeting. We are all physically distant and some are not even in the same room. Some are in the multipurpose room, others are in the gym, and some are remote. School board members, Chairperson Matt Manning, Vice Chair Jay Duguay, Brian Angelone, Joe Bossy, Tammy Ham, Vance Pickering, Jasmine Whedon. From the Budget Committee, Chairperson Renee Blood. Staff members, Superintendent Dr. Judy McGann, Deb O'Connor, the Finance Manager, Jeanette Fecto, the District Clerk, and staff handling our technology and broadcast, Trey Aldridge, Bart King, Dan Adams. Thank you, gentlemen. And Gordon Graham, our SAU counsel, is also here. And while we're giving out thank yous, thank you in advance to the custodial staff for getting everything ready for Tuesday's drive-in voting. Voting is scheduled for Tuesday, May 26, 2020. The weather forecast looks great. If that changes, we plan on still having the drive-in voting. At the end of tonight's meeting, I'll go through how to cast your vote safely with the drive-in voting. Tonight, we'll go through each article. I will ask if there are any comments or questions, and the school board will discuss comments and questions that came from voters since Monday's meeting. They can offer their own sentiments, and motions will be accepted on amending articles. A motion will also be needed for the disposition of each article, either a motion to call the question, which ends debate for tonight and brings it before the voters, or an action to table the article, also ending debate and bringing it before the voters. That vote will be again on Tuesday, May 26th from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. by secret ballot. And we'll skip over Articles 1, 2, and 3 because they're on the official ballot and start with Article 4. Article 4 was amended the other day, so we don't need to vote on that. And I understand there's a new amendment for tonight, though.
Thank you, Robert. I'd like to make a motion to amend Article 4 to read, to accept the reports of the agents, auditors, committees, and officers, including the report of the moderator on the emergency procedures to be used for the 2020 annual school district meeting and election, and further approve the moderator's emergency procedures, including the conduct of the 2 prior virtual sessions of the annual meeting, as well as the voting procedures used today, and further approve the call of each question on the warrant as previously amended, thereby cutting off further debate on the warrant articles as previously amended, and finally approve of the use of the secret ballot voting at this meeting.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Second by Vance Pickering. Is there any questions or debate, discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And that's amended unanimously. Article 5. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $520,000 for the purpose of upgrading the HVAC system and controls at the Lynwood Elementary School, and to authorize the issuance of not more than $520,000 of bonds or notes in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Finance Act, RSA Chapter 33, and to authorize the school board to issue and negotiate school bonds or notes and determine the rate of interest therein, and further to raise and appropriate the additional sum of $7,541 for the first year's interest payment on the bond. Again, we did already motion and second this the other day, so I'll ask if there are any questions or comments tonight. Matt Manning.
Thank you, Robert. I wanted to acknowledge that we did receive feedback from Marty Talbot of North Woodstock, and her comment was, I am writing to recommend and agree with the tabling of Article 5 for the furnace of $520,000.
I'd like to make a motion that we table Article 5.
Motion from Tammy Ham to table Article 5.
I'll second it.
Second by, Joe Bossy. Any discussion or questions? Those in favor of tabling Article 5 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
And it sounds like the ayes do have it, so we'll table Article 5. Article 6, To see if the district will set the salaries of school board at $1,000, the vice chair at $1,250, the chairperson at $1,500, the board negotiation team at $150 per day, the moderator at $90 per meeting, the school district clerk at $250 per meeting, the ballot clerks at $80 per meeting, supervisors of the checklist at $90 per meeting, and the school district clerk at $4,000 per year. The money of this article is included in Article 7. Any questions or comments on Article 6?
I'll make a motion to call the question.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Second by Tammy Ham, and that motion was by Matt Manning. Calling the question would end any debate tonight and move it to the voters on Tuesday. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we'll move on to Article 7. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the Budget Committee's recommended sum of $8,465,163 for the support of schools, for the salaries of school district officials, employees, and agents, and for the payment of statutory obligations of the district, and to authorize the application against the appropriation such sums as to be estimated to be received from the state aid, together with other income, the school board to certify to the selectmen of each of the towns of Lincoln and Woodstock, respectively, the balance to be raised by taxes by the towns of Lincoln and Woodstock in accordance with the formula adopted by the Lincoln-Woodstock Cooperative School District, and the school board further to certify to the selectmen of each of the towns of Lincoln and Woodstock the amount to be raised by taxation by each of the said two towns. This article does not include appropriations in any other warrant article. The school board also recommends $8,465,163. Any questions or comments on Article 7? Matt Manning.
We did receive two comments from the community. The first was Marty Talbot. She would like to see the school board reduce the budget to $8 million. And Darlene Goodboo of Woodstock was also in favor of that. And I just wanted to just kind of clarify how the budget works. The amount of taxpayer funding that'll be raised for this budget is $8,080,000, I believe. Is that right, Deb? That's correct. The additional $400,000 that are in the budget, the general operating budget, will be raised through grants. So at this time, the taxpayer contribution would be the $8,080,000.
Any other questions or comments? I'd entertain a motion to call the question.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Joe Bossi,
I'll second.
seconded by Jay Duguay. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And we'll move on to Article 9. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $65,000 for the flooring replacement project, including but not limited to the Lynwood High School main office, guidance office, and special education office as a part of a multi-year project. This is a special warrant article per RSA 32:3, Roman numeral 6, lowercase d, and RSA 32:7, Roman numeral 5. Any questions or comments? Matt Manning.
We did receive a comment from Marty Talbot of North Woodstock, New Hampshire. And her comment was, I am writing to recommend and agree with the tabling of Article 9 for the replacement of the floor for $65,000.
I'd like to make a motion that we table Article 9.
Motion by Tammy Ham to table Article 9. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Matt Manning. All those in favor of tabling Article 9 signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And tabling does pass unanimously. Article 10, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $55,900 for the replacement of the Lynwood High School roof and area covering the Science Wing hallway, approximately 4,300 square feet. This is a special warrant article per RSA 32:3, Roman numeral 6, lowercase d, and RSA 32:7, Roman numeral 5. Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to call the question.
Motion by Matt Manning to call the question, Article 10.
I'll second it.
Second by Joe Bossi. Those in favor of calling Article 10 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Article 11, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate 60% up to the amount of $60,000 to be placed in the school facilities expendable trust fund, with said funds to come from the June 30, 2020 unassigned fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2020. Any questions or comments?
I'll make the motion to call the question.
Motion by Matt Manning to call the question. And seconded by Brian Angelone. Those in favor of calling Article 11 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we'll call Article 11. Moving on to Article 12. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate 10% up to the amount of $10,000 to be placed in the school vehicle expendable trust fund, with said funds to come from the June 30, 2020 unassigned fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2020. Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to call the question.
Motion by Matt Manning to call the question.
I'll
Second.
Second by Joe Bossy. Those in favor of calling Article 12 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we'll call Article 12. Moving on to
Robert?
Article,
I'm sorry. Did we do Article 8?
we may not have. We did not.
We skipped it.
Yes, thank you. We will backtrack to Article 8. To see if the district will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Lincoln Woodstock Cooperative School Board and the Lynwood Support Staff Association, NEA, New Hampshire, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits over those paid in the prior fiscal year. Fiscal year 2020-2021, $30,131. 2021-2022, $11,408. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $30,131 for the 2020-2021 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional cost attributed to the increase in salaries and benefits over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to call the question.
Motion to call the question by Matt Manning,
Second.
second by Jay Duguay. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. And we'll call Article 8. Thank you, Dr. McGann. Moving on to Article 13. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate 10% up to the amount of $10,000 to be placed in the school equipment expendable trust fund, with said funds to come from the June 30, 2020 unassigned fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2020. Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to call the question.
Motion by Jay Duguay,
Second.
second by Brian Angelone. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And the motion to call the question passes unanimously. Article 14, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate 10% up to the amount of $10,000 to be placed in the school technology expendable trust fund, with said funds to come from the June 30, 2020 unassigned fund balance available for transfer on July 1st, 2020. Any questions or comments?
I'll make a motion to call the question.
Motion by Matt Manning to call the question,
I'll second.
second by Tammy Ham. Those in favor of calling Article 14 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It is 15. Thank you. Those in favor of calling Article 15 signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And we'll call Article 15 unanimously. Article 16. There was a motion and a second the other day, but we didn't officially vote on changing the wording. So the amended article, to see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $21,000 to be added to the school vehicle expendable trust fund previously established. This sum to come from the sale proceeds from the sale of the bus. The school board and the budget committee recommend this appropriation. That already has a motion and a second. So those in favor of amending Article 16 to those words signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. And Article 16 is passed, amended unanimously.
I will make a motion to call that question.
Sure, Jay Duguay makes a motion to call
I'll
Article
second.
16.
Second.
Second by Matt Manning. Those in favor of calling Article 16 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Article 17, to transact any other business that may legally come before said meeting. Matt Manning.
Thank you, Robert. We did have a question or comment from Bonnie Ham of North Woodstock. Bonnie wrote, I propose the school board be requested to study where we go from here to provide an education for our Lynwood students that will be adequate, appropriate, and sustainable, not only during these difficult economic times with low enrollment, but into the future. Economic times might improve, but low enrollment looks like the trend for some time to come. I believe we have arrived at the time that we need to assess how we provide our educational opportunities with the goal of being more cost effective without sacrificing our quality of education.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I'd like to acknowledge Bonnie's question, and I think it's something that the school board could take up as we move forward as regular school board business.
Thank you, Matt. The warrant articles as amended will be available as a sample ballot on the school website, the SAU office, and the Lincoln and Woodstock town offices, hopefully as early as tomorrow. Voting again on Tuesday. I'd like to go through the voting procedures. They're available online, and hopefully you receive them in the mail. Really simple procedures, but there's a lot of words, so I'll just go through them. As you enter the school parking lot, choose the left lane for Lincoln or right lane for Woodstock. If you need to register to vote, we'll cover that later. At the first stop, each voter in the car will place their valid ID against the vehicle window to facilitate check-in. Ballot clerks will verify how many voters are in the vehicle. A card color-coded by town will have the number of voters written on it and will be placed under your windshield wiper. This will help facilitate checkout and the ballot clerks. Please roll down your window enough to be given the correct number of ballots. Note there are 2 ballots for each voter, one official ballot for voting on elected officials and one secret ballot for voting on the other warrant articles. Drive up the driveway to the elementary school parking lot and park your car to mark your ballots. Please fold your ballots. If you do have multiple ballots in the same car, do not stack them inside each other. Drive down the bus lane in front of the elementary school to check out by showing each voter's ID against the window to the ballot clerks. Cast your ballot by rolling down your window enough to hand them to the moderator. As with any hand count voting, the moderator will put the ballots in the ballot box. Depart the school grounds through the normal exit. There will be no opportunity for socializing. Due to the unique challenges, the entire school campus will be considered the guardrail. Any electioneering will need to be in front of the fence of the front field. If you need to register to vote, skip the line for Lincoln and Woodstock voting by going around to the left. After parking, go into the middle high school multipurpose room and see the supervisors of the checklist. Masks and hand sanitizer will be provided and expected during this close contact. After you're registered, proceed in your vehicle back to the line for your town. Balloting will close no earlier than 6 p.m. All voters in line at 6 p.m. will be allowed to vote. Once the voting is closed, the moderator and other election officials will count the votes. Shortly thereafter, results will be announced and available on the school's website and through social media. You may also contact the superintendent's office. All participants are required to keep no less than 6 feet of distance between each other to comply with the governor's orders prohibiting gatherings of 10 or more people. To otherwise heed the warnings of state and federal officials about COVID-19. The moderator has authority to remove any person who does not abide by these procedures per RSA 40:8. If the moderator determines at any point that these procedures are unworkable or not in the best interests of Lincoln and Woodstock voters, the moderator will recess the meeting to a specific date, time, and place. The moderator will employ means available to inform citizens of the recessed date consistent with previous postponements. Does anyone have anything else for tonight? Matt Manning.
Thanks, Robert. I wanted to thank the community for their involvement in our virtual meetings and also thank them in advance for coming out and supporting the warrant articles on Tuesday. I will say that, we don't take lightly the financial environment that we find ourselves in and the economic impact of families, as well as business owners who support the school and the rest of the community. But as a school board member, I just want the community to know that my biggest concern right now with our budget is that we will not have enough money when we reopen our schools because education will look differently. We need to take into consideration that we may have staggered schedules that will require an additional cleaning crew to be here during the days and get the school sanitized prior to the next group of students arriving. We may have staggered bus schedules that could increase the cost of our busing fees and services. And with all these unknowns, there may be other expenses that come forward that may put us in a position where things are going to get extremely tight. So we didn't have the information that we have now back in January, just like I know the community feels the information towards the economic impact as a taxpayer. So we're trying to balance all those things and make sure that we can navigate the future, or the 2020, 2021 year, as appropriately and as smoothly as possible. So we just thank you in advance for your consideration.
Thank you, Matt. Anybody have anything else for tonight? Seeing none, we're in recess until Tuesday, May 26th at 2 p.m.
Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.